Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are around the world. I just want to say hello. This is Cynthia Simmons. And, tonight I'm going to do things a little bit different. Usually I get on here and I'm talking about, the business and all those different things. But tonight I want to talk to everybody about why, why do you get into a business? What is your reason for doing it? Why would you want to? Why should you? But I'm going to tell you something, things that I figured out over the past few years after battling cancer and going through all the different things that I went through is integrity is the most important part of all of it. And, here's what I kind of have figured out, that what is in your past doesn't really matter, and what is in the future hasn't come yet, but what is in you determines it all. So if you don't have integrity, if you're not one of those people who is honest in dealing with people and in helping people, I would pretty much say that the best predictor of future behavior is past behavior. So if you haven't done anything in the past, pretty much you're probably not going to do a lot in the future. But if you're looking at it now where, I'm ready to change my life, I want to do some things different, I'd like to, help people, I'd like to, have my own business and build my own team, and I see everybody else doing it, what does it take, what does it require, why are they doing it and I can't? But integrity plays the biggest part in all of those things. And, I don't know how many people have heard of Zig Ziglar, but he was an amazing man, and I would suggest to you to go onto YouTube and look up Zig, because he did some things in his time and talked about things. And for some of us, what he said, we already knew, because if you're a person of integrity and honesty and have some morals and values, then the things that Zig Ziglar talked about, you would just say, well, doesn't everybody already know that, or doesn't everybody already think like that or feel that way? And it's absolutely not true. People just, everybody isn't like that. They're just not. Everybody's not created the same. And trust me, I've had some dealings in business with people who on the surface appeared to have integrity, but when nitty came to gritty and you did some real deep searching, you found out that what was on the surface was barely, just the surface, because underneath it all, there was absolutely no integrity. And you don't want to deal with people like that, because usually what ends up happening is you end up getting hurt or making, bad business deals. So, I just want to talk about that tonight. People tell you when you're getting ready to join a business, you always want to ask yourself why. Why do I want to join a business? Why do I want to join a company? What's your why? But once you've figured out your why, you kind of need to know what the company's why is, because that will tell you a lot about where they're going. Why are they doing it? Are they doing it for themselves, for the CEO of the company? Are they doing it for the distributor to help you? So it's not only important that you have your why, but it is very important that you know the why of the company. And since I've been with Sozo now, I'm in a new coffee company, and and I'm just absolutely loving it, because this company has really shown me the difference when a company has their why down and they've decided this is the reason I'm doing this. And they're not doing it for money, to promote themselves, to build, because they already have money. So when you can find a company that has integrity, that's building and structuring their company on morals and values and ethics, that's when you know, hey, you know what, I think I've got a winner this time. But then you need to start looking within you and saying, well, what is my why? Why am I doing it? Why am I even joining the company? Because it doesn't do you or anybody any good to join a company and after a month or 2 months or, what have you, that you're back out of it. I mean, what has it benefited you? So if you decide that you're going to do something like that, you really need to make sure that not only integrity, but that you have dedication. You know, you have to be dedicated to those things that are special to you. To me, network marketing, and they call it relationship marketing, is just like any ordinary relationship, any marriage, any, committed relationship. You can't be in that relationship and not be dedicated, because if you do that, not only are you going to hurt yourself, but everybody that is involved in that relationship. I'm just going to give an example here. Let's say you're married and you got 4 kids, and you're committed to the relationship, but the other party isn't. So that would be like the CEO not being committed. Well, the structure in the household is going to fall apart. So what about if the other person of the household is committed, but you're not? Well, still, the structure is going to fall apart. And who's going to be affected? Everybody in the household, from, the 2 people who are in a committed relationship and the children that are there. So you think of it as a CEO, and then he has his leaders, and then the distributors, the team members. Everybody is affected when people aren't dedicated. So when you find out why you want to do the business, then your next thing is to say, am I going to be dedicated? Am I going to be committed? Because simply joining a company and signing up with it, that's great. I mean, anybody can do that and say, well, I've joined this company and I own my own business now and I work from home and I'm an entrepreneur, and it doesn't take a lot to do that. There's so many companies out there that you could join, but it takes something special to dedicate yourself to it, to stay committed to it. And people say, well, I don't want to get on these calls every week, and, I don't want to have to go to these meetings. Well, then perhaps this isn't the industry for you or the business for you. Perhaps, clocking in for somebody is more your style, because not everybody does want to go to calls or, go to meetings or participate. But what I find awful bizarre is that people don't look at themselves and say, what am I worth? What is my value? How much do I mean to me? How much do I mean to my company? Because when you clock in at a job, and we've all had them, we all, had jobs where we clock in, but here's the thing. When you go and you interview for a job, they're going to tell you, well, I've looked at your resume and I've looked at your, past work history, and we're going to offer you, $18 an hour. Well, what if you think you're worth $25 an hour? How did this person just determine what your value was? How did they do that? They just met you for the first time, but they've determined what your value is to them. But you think you have a higher value than that. And so if you have a higher value than that, then perhaps you have to readjust yourself and find something that you can do that you're committed to, because then that's when you're going to find out what is your value. Because if your value of yourself is higher, then you will dedicate yourself and commit yourself to do something like this industry provides, where you build your own business, because then you actually show other people, this is what I'm worth, because then you put the effort into that to create the income for you that shows what you think you are worth and what your value is and the things that you should have in life. Where if you go to a 9-to-5 job and you clock in, somebody else is determining what your value is. So kind of, I just wanted to get on here a little bit tonight and talk to everybody about, why joining this industry is important, what is required when you're in the industry and when you're doing this. Because a lot of people come in here with this misconception that, oh, I'm going to join this business and all of these people are going to be placed under me and I'm just going to make lots of money and I won't have to do anything. But no, that's not true. Because when you clock in at your 9 to 5, they don't allow you to come in there and just sit down all day and do nothing and you get a check every 2 weeks anyway. That doesn't happen. So anything that you're going to put time and effort into is going to pay you based on the time and effort that you put in. Here's a good for instance. Let's take somebody who starts out at a major corporation, and they start out working in janitorial services. And perhaps at that time they're making, we'll say, $7 an hour. Within 2 years, they've moved their way up, and now they're working in the mailroom. And maybe now they're making $9 an hour. Another year or two goes by, and they've worked their way up again, and perhaps now they're in the call center, and they're making $11 an hour. Then they continue to work their way up, and perhaps they're an assistant to an executive that works in the corporate business that they're in. And now they're making maybe $19 an hour. And so they can work their way up to the top. But the point is they worked their way up to that. They dedicated themselves and they stayed with it until they got to those positions. And perhaps, starting at janitorial and going up to customer service and then supervisor, then manager, then who knows, executive. But it works the same way in this industry. But the one thing that happens is if somebody doesn't have their thumb on somebody's head telling them this is when you need to be here, this is when you clock in, this is when you clock out, this is what time you go to lunch, this is what time you take a break, because this industry doesn't do that. You are here of your own free will. It's a choice that you made to change your life. So you don't clock in, you don't clock out. Nobody demands anything of you because you're running your own business. But now what if somebody who was a business owner, let's say Steve Jobs, and he just showed up sometimes? Well, I'm sure he wouldn't have had the success, him or Bill Gates or Warren Buffett or Richard Branson, any of those men, they would have never had the success that they had they just showed up sometimes. So I guess the point I'm trying to make tonight is that, it's an amazing industry. The point is you have to find a company that knows what their why is. Why are they doing it? And they need to be doing it for the people, for the distributors, not because they want to be rich or they want to have this major success and be on an ego trip that, oh, my God, I'm a CEO of this amazing company, that they're doing it for the right reasons also, and that their why has been already set out and lined out that everybody can see this is why I'm building this company. And they're providing the things that prove that, because having integrity also means that you have to show it. You can't just talk it. You have to show it. And actions have always spoke louder than words. So when you see a company that's backing up what they're saying that they're going to do, and they actually do it, that's when you have integrity. There's an old saying that Dr. Phil says all the time, and I just love this saying: if you have nothing to hide, then hide nothing. So when you get into a company, if they have nothing to hide, they should not be hiding anything from you. They should be able to lay out what their 5-year, 10-year, 15, 20-year plan is. They should be able to say to you, this is what, the volume that we had this month, this year, this quarter. They should be able to say to you, these are the other products that we intend on coming out with in the next, 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years. They should be able to tell you everything that you want to know to join that company. And when you find a company that is going to do that, that's when you then look at your why and say, okay, why am I doing it? I know now why they're doing it, but why am I doing it? And perhaps it's you want time freedom. Perhaps you are tired of clocking in and having some other person tell you, well, this is what we think you're worth, because you know you're more valuable than that. Or maybe it's, I need more money. Or, I heard that they had a great car bonus, and I would just like for them, to pay my car payment. I'd like to get to the point where they're paying my car payment. And if more comes than that, then that would be a blessing. So once you've figured out that the company knows what their why is and why they've built it and why they're doing it and why they're putting all their effort into it, then you need to know what your why is. Then when you've figured out what your why is, now you have a match made in heaven, because now you can get in, you can dedicate yourself, you can get committed, you can focus on what you're doing, and you can build a business. And let me tell you something. I have gone from working in an amazing company and making really great money, my husband and I both, and when I came down with breast cancer, guess what? I was no longer an asset to that company. I had become a liability. And they let me go because I couldn't be there every day. I was in chemo and radiation treatment. And they said, look, we need somebody who can be here. So that told me what my value was to them. I was of no value to them. And that's what happens. But when you own your own business, that can't happen. Because I'm not going to fire me. And you wouldn't fire you either. So when you own your own business, and the reason you do it and the reason you dedicate yourself to it is because you know who you are. You know what you want. You don't need anybody to tell you. You don't need anybody to say, well, this is what we think you're worth. Because you are valuable. You just have to believe it yourself. And these people that come in here to these different companies and businesses and start making hundreds of thousands of dollars, it's real. It really happens. Oh, it really does. Trust me, I've seen them. I've watched it with my own eyes. I've seen people go from making nothing and $40,000 in debt to having beachfront homes next door to Bon Jovi. Trust me, I have seen it with my own eyes. But here's the thing. They were dedicated, and they worked really hard, and they earned it. It wasn't given to them. They didn't just get handed this. It wasn't easy. Did it take them a couple of years? Absolutely. Is it going to take you time to do it? Absolutely. But it's how committed are you, how bad do you want it, and how much integrity do you have? And what is your why? Why are you doing it? Because once you find a passion for something, it automatically will happen for you because you have a passion for it. And anything that you have a passion for, normally, usually, the integrity is there. So I just wanted to speak on that tonight. I look forward to having people with me in my team, part of this company, that have integrity, that have honesty, that are committed, that know what their why is, that want to change their lives, that want to start a business, that want to say, I know what my value is, and I know what I'm worth. And I'm worth much more than what I'm getting right now in whatever it is that you do. So if this is something that sounds like, I think I could do this, I think this is for me, I would love to talk to you. I would love to sit down and say, here's what we have to offer. And if you think you'd like to be part of it, that, you need the medical, dental, life insurance, if you need a 401k plan, if you need a car bonus program where they make, you get a car payment made because you earned it, something they don't give you at a 9 to 5, that a check matching bonus that you earn, because I'm going to tell you, you can work a 9 to 5 a long time, and I don't care who works in the office down the hall. Nobody's going to give you a check based on what that person down in the next office is making. So if that's something that interests you and that you would like to have, please contact me, and let's talk. Let's just let's see what you want to do and get you involved. And this may or may not be for you, but I'm going to tell you, if you're ready to change your life, I'm ready to help you. My name is Cynthia Simmons. You can contact me at thecynthiasimmons@gmail.com. TheCynthiasimmons@gmail.com. Or you can visit iwon'tfireme.info. Have a blessed week. I hope you learned something from this. If I can help you in any way, again, please contact me or visit iwon'tfireme.info. Thank you.